Hello there everyone, it is TIJ Game. Welcome back to the Wolverhampton Wanderers beta save for Football Manager 2021. Today we've got two interesting games. Firstly, we have a tough away game against Leicester at the King Power Stadium, but they haven't started the season perhaps as you might have expected, so that's definitely a chance for at least a point, if not three. And then later on in the episode, we take on Brighton and Hove Albion at Le Molyneux, a club who are in the relegation zone, so it could be a chance for 3 points. But it's an interesting one at this point because even though, okay, we've played one game less, but on the face of it, we are bang on midway between 18, which you can see, Brighton, Hove, Albion have got 14 points in 18th place. And then you've got Leeds with 30 points in 6th place. So we're 8 points from the drop and 8 points from 6th place, which that is that elusive Europa League spot, which of course we would love. And clubs like Leicester haven't really had the best start to the season. Yes, they've played a game less than us, but if we can beat Leicester today, we put ourselves above Everton, above Crystal Palace at least for now in 7th place, and Leicester stay languishing down in 11th place. And also bear in mind, Tottenham have had an absolutely terrible start. They have now sacked Jose Mourinho, and I wouldn't really see it as much of a surprise if the former Wolves manager Nuno Espirito Santo does go in there. But let's have a look at how we've got on in the intervening matches. Of course, we played against Sheffield United and Aston Villa in the last episode. The game after that, we went and got beaten at home, our first home defeat of the season against Manchester United. And to be quite honest, we didn't play brilliantly, but the first half wasn't too bad. It was an own goal, a terrible own goal from Max Kilman. In fact, if I can very quickly, I'm going to show you that. But I've just spent the best part of 2 minutes trying to get through the match to find the highlights. So I'm sure you don't want to see that, but we can finally see the highlight here. Rashford has a shot, as you can see. John Ruddy parries it because Patricio's been out for a little while. Marcel got a rare start at left back. I feel like this is the match that was on the 28th of December, so we had to rotate quite a bit. Marcel puts the ball out. It cannons off Max Kilman, who started at centre-back. An absolutely dreadful goal. But Neto got a goal back fairly quickly, 28 minutes in. So it was 1 each at half-time. I thought, good, we can get a point against United here. But they dominated the second half, and it was a match we didn't really deserve much out of. But the first match of 2021, we went and won quite convincingly. Most of our big boys were back. Traore, we got Shabani, Pacheco in there as well, with Raul Jimenez up front. And Adama Traore got 2 goals, so we went and beat Crystal Palace 2-0. But it seems like the cup competitions just aren't our friend this year. We went out of the FA Cup in the third round by 4 goals to 2 to Cardiff. As you can see, at half-time we were 2-0 down. And I really thought by 85 minutes, great, we're going to at least a replay with Jimenez and Neto getting 2 quick-fire goals to make it 2 each. And then, I'll admit, I went for it. I went attacking. I thought, because January is so busy, I don't really want to play in a replay. I just want to go for this. And sometimes that can go against you. Bakuna and Volk scored 2 in the 90th and 94th minute to make sure we went out of the FA Cup third round. But one bonus from that is that until the end of the season, all we have got now is just tunnel vision on the Premier League. And of course, we want to finish in the Europa League spot, and hopefully a win against Leicester and against Brighton today can enable us to start to do that. Bit of transfer news though. Obviously we have entered the transfer window and we have got a big amount to spend. We've got £39 million, but equally I don't see the point of spending money when either the players aren't available or there's no necessity to spend the money. So we have had quite a shrewd transfer, to be quite honest. We wanted a bit of cover at centre-back. We've got Cody and Bolly in there. We've got Max Kilman, who's a backup. But now we have a 4th choice. And to be fair, he played his debut against Crystal Palace. This is Jack Watmore, the captain of Portsmouth, who joined the club for a very small 1.6 million. You can see he had his opening match against Crystal Palace and had a very good average rating of 7.4. He's only a fringe player, but as you can see, his potential is a little bit higher at a good rating for the senior team. And personally, I think he's a bit of a steal. If you can compare him to Connor Cody, who's 3 years older, very much the same role. They're both ball-playing defenders. And sure, Cody's got better speed, a little bit better physicals. Cody's the better rounded player, but as a backup option, Jack Watmore is not a bad signing at all. So a bit of a shrewd one there. In terms of outs, no one really significant, but we are looking to sell Marcel. There's an offer for him to go to Bournemouth for 2.7 million, and that's something we're going to take on. He did join the club only in the summer from Lyon for 1.8 million, but he's 31. He's not someone for the future, and he's just not someone I'm using. At the left-back position, we've got Ait Nouri, who's getting his place regularly. As you've seen, Max Kilman's been picked over Marcel. He's 3rd choice. He's on 30 grand a week, which is quite a bit of money, and he's just surplus to requirements. There's no point him being here at the club. And the reason we signed Jack Watmore, you might have said, well, surely he could have gone for someone a bit better than him. Well, the truth is, the best player that was on the transfer market was Phil Jones. And it was 9.5 million. And I thought, Phil Jones is 28 now. He's going to want a lot more money than Jack Watmore. And we want someone as a backup, not necessarily as a first choice. We've got Cody and Bolly who are shoo-ins, at the centre-back position. And we didn't really need anyone that was worth that much money. So I wanted to bolster the squad. I've been talking a little bit about getting players who are fringe players, backup players, depth players and squad players, whatever term you'd like to use there. I've thrown a few out there. But obviously the club lost Diego Jota, Mac Doherty at the start of the season. And really it's just all about building that squad up again. But there are some good youngsters that have really made sure that we've reined the spending in quite a bit. You can see midfield's obviously got Vitor Freires on loan with us, but we've got Morgan Gibbs-White, Bruno Jordão, Connor Ronan. We've got some really good midfielders coming through, and the same goes in the attacking positions. But I think at the back it looks a little bit bleaker, but at left back we've got Ruben Vinagre, who's coming through, who's only the age of 21. At centre back now we've got Jack Watmore. You could see in that position there wasn't that much coming through. We've got Bolly and Cody. Dendonker's more of a midfielder. Max Kilman's going to be a decent player. And we've got Roman Seiss, who's getting on a bit. But Jack Watmore is somebody who could definitely come in as just a backup player. And at right back, we've got Semedo. We've got Oscar Burr, who I'm not really too impressed with. But we have got Kijana, however, who can come in as a right back. But I think maybe a bit more right back depth might be what we're looking for. And I'm also looking potentially to bring in a younger goalkeeper. But we have got Matthias Sarkic, who's out on loan at Shrewsbury at the moment. He hasn't played too badly. He seems to be playing regularly in their League One squad. But yeah, it just seems how it goes, and we'll have to see how it goes. But we're not doing badly at the moment. And I think that signing of Jack Watmore is going to hopefully provide a bit more depth at centre-back. So it's going to be a tough match against Leicester today, but we are going to go for its attacking formation that seems to be working well for us. The usual suspects at the back: Semedo, Bolly, Cody and Aït-Nouri. It is indeed Rui Patricio's first match back from his injury. He hasn't played the last few matches, so thank goodness he is back. Now, somebody did say in the comments, and it's quite right, that Max Kilman's main position is as a centre-back. And I was toying with an idea of putting him at centre-back, but then Connor Cody misses out. So I thought, okay, we'll put Cody. I would like to play Cody in midfield, but then Neves or Moutinho misses out. So then we go, okay, well, we'll put a defensive midfielder in there. But then we haven't got the attacking. We haven't got the attackers. We haven't got Shabani in there. It's very tricky to fit all of these players in. So I think Connor Cody sits there at the moment in defence, and we may bring Jack Kilman or Jack Watmore, depending on who impresses more over time. Neves and Moutinho, again, they're pretty much shoo-ins in the midfield, and I was going to talk about that as well. We've got Roman Seiss, who's 30. He's out of contract at the end of the year. I feel like it might be worth putting him out there, putting a few feelers out there to see if anybody wants him on a transfer rather than selling him on a free at the end of the year. And Leander Dendoncker as well. He's worth a lot of money, nearly 25 million, and we have got Arsenal, who have only got a minor interest in him, but he's a player that hasn't played much for us this year. I accept that João Moutinho is not going to last forever, so Dendoncker might come in. But for a player who's going to be worth 25 million and he's just sitting on our bench, it doesn't make any sense. And of course, he would sell for a profit as well, given that we only paid 12 million for him a few years ago. But I'm happy with that team. We've got Traoré, Podence and Shabani in the attacking midfield, Raul Jimenez up front. Going to actually change him to a pressing forward. And we've got Balotelli. We've got Neto on the bench. I feel a little bit sorry for Neto. There's been a few people at the club that have suggested we put him out on loan, but I couldn't disagree enough with that. Obviously, he's our third choice. He's our second choice in effect on both wings, and we haven't got that depth. In the attack, to be honest, is one of those positions where we have got the depth. So it seems silly to get rid of somebody like him on a loan deal, and his best place for development, in my firm opinion, is here. So I don't see why he wouldn't be used. You know, he's going to come on from the bench. If we don't use him, then who else have we got? That's the problem, and I think that this squad's already thin. You could see at the start of the season I think we actually registered 18 players from a maximum of 25 players can be registered for a Premier League club. We only registered 18, so it just shows how thin the squad is, particularly at the back. And as I said, in the attack is actually somewhere where we've got some depth, so we want to keep that up. And a brilliant early goal from Ryan Aït-Nouri, his first goal of the season as a left-back, and his first goal for Wolves overall. Of course, he scored something not quite like that, but something minutely similar in real life. But a fantastic goal here from Aït-Nouri. Ruben Neves finds Aït-Nouri on the left. He beats Jose Perez, who seems to be tracking back, and Castagna is fully focused on Daniel Podence. And a brilliant shot from Ait-Nouri. Breached Kasper Schmeichel at the near post. I guess Kasper Schmeichel will be a bit frustrated with that, but to be quite honest, I don't think anybody would have expected Ait-Nouri to have gone for that. So we take an early lead against Leicester. And it's a game that, particularly being away from home, I'm not all that confident in, but I think that the way we play, it isn't any good to go with a counter-attacking formation away from home, but a good save there from Rui Patricio at short range. Jamie Vardy could have done a little bit better with that, I think. But as you saw at the start of the season, we were playing with more of a counter-attacking approach, putting that defensive midfielder in rather than having Shabani at the attacking midfield. But you can see that the way we are playing at home is working. We've played, probably 8 or 9 games, 8 or 9 games now at home this year, and we've only lost 1. So something must be going right at home. If we can get that formula right away from home, then, we're on to a good one, and we're definitely on to finishing in the top 10. But a good ball into the box from Traoré, just goes over the bar from Raul Jimenez, and Leeds are 3-0 up at Aston Villa. Aston Villa haven't had the best start, and Leeds have had a cracking start, they really have. You can see they're in the top 6. Hopefully we can take them off the perch. A lovely ball into Raul Jimenez. It's 2-0. Wow, the move started there on the left-hand side. I feel like, I can't remember who it was now. Who was it on that left-hand side? It was Daniel Podence on that left-hand side who started the move. Beats the Leicester man, cuts inside, passes it to Shabani, puts a very simple ball through. A very subtle but good ball through to Raul Jimenez, just about the right time. And that's what we're looking at from Daniel Shabani. Going for a mix between Shabani and Podence there. But that's what we're looking for from Shabani. Being the link between midfield and attack, and the wingers and attack. Because I don't think it's particularly good to be pinging balls into Jimenez. He's not a target man. He's not like that. He's more of a proven finisher rather than a header of the ball. And I feel Leicester are going to feel a little bit hard done to, because we seem to be talking about XG a lot this year. But 1.45 is is Leicester's XG. We aren't even at 1. So I think we have to tell the lads to not be complacent, because things can turn around here. Based on the XG, we've been the poorer side. But you know what? We're 2-0 up, and I really couldn't care less. The XG isn't everything in the game. It's just a nicer stat than the clear-cut chances that we've had in the past. But some good midfield play being played here to try and take some of these guys off the ball. We're putting good pressure on Leicester. And this should be a good opportunity for 3 points now. I do worry potentially about Brendan Rodgers really putting the good team talk in at half-time and bringing it back to 2 each. But I don't think the situation would be made any better here by us sitting back and going counter-attacking. We're playing on positive mentality at the moment. I don't think there's any good doing that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because I think if you sit back, you invite pressure. We've had 50-50 in terms of possession, and I think the way we're going is perfect. We're 60 minutes in here. We're still 2-0 up. We've got a corner here. If we go 3-0 up, that would definitely be game over, I think. Moutinho into the box for Raul Jimenez, just over the bar. He's not had the best game, even though he scored a goal. That sounds ridiculous. But he's had quite a few chances, Jimenez, and I think on some occasions he should be scoring more than he does. Got me touchline brew here. Adama Traoré is really starting to struggle, so we're going to bring Pedro Neto on from the bench. And we're also going to trial this. I'm going to take off Moutinho and put Bolly in that midfield position. Swap those two around. Have Cody as the more defensive midfielder. And we're going to bring on Max Kilman or Jack Watmore. I'm going to bring on Jack Watmore to see what he can do in the midfield again. So two decisions made. Effectively 3 changes with Connor Cody going into that midfield. But let's see what happens here. See if anything changes. We're going to be pretty unlucky here to lose this game now or drop any points. We've got 15 minutes to go. I feel like this is the time to sit back a little bit. I'm quite happy with that. We're also going to probably bring the star man off. Ait-Nouri has had a brilliant game. He got the opener for us. We're going to bring Max Kilman on for him at the back. And this has been just the start to the episode we wanted. Our away form seems to be pretty decent now. And a win against Leicester away from home is exactly what you'd ask for. We've got them in a few games' time. I think the 2 games against Leicester actually bookend the Brighton game where we play them at home. I've just noticed Crystal Palace have just come back and got a point out of Chelsea, which they'll be very happy with. And I feel like we've got away with that today. But again, I really couldn't care less. Leicester didn't take their chances. There's no problem there. Vardy didn't get a single goal today, despite having a 7.2 rating, which suggests that Rui Patricio had a really good game, which he did at a 7.7 rating. And the man of the match, well deserved today, is Ryan Ait-Nouri. A really good win for us today. We beat Leicester 2-0. Another 3 points, and that moves us into the continental qualification spot, as I discussed before. 8 points behind Leeds United, and they are really going with the top 6. That top 6 was really pushed away, and I can't see Leicester having a very good season at all. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. It was a very pleasing victory. Yeah, okay, fine, brill, but no, a good game for us today. 2-0 away from home. Just the kind of result we need if we're going to enter that Europa League race. And let's see how we get on against Brighton. 2 wins out of 2 today. And our mid-season form starts to look really good. Actually, to be fair, before we continue, Leeds and Chelsea have played one more game than us. If we can beat Brighton and only move 5 points behind Chelsea at this point of the season, I'd be really happy with that. Well, in between games here, we've got a few offers for some of our youngsters. And you know what? This is pretty tempting from Newcastle. They've actually made an offer which extends to $7.5 million. Obviously, this year with the COVID situation, you're going to see a lot of this where they pay an initial fee and then pay stuff on instalments, which it's a fee that rises to £7.5 million. Justin Hubness in our under-18s, he's a 17-year-old, signed from a Dutch club, FC Den Bosch, a few years ago for an undisclosed fee, which I very much doubt is anything like $7.5 million. And if you look at him, he's an exciting prospect. He could be a 3-star player, a decent to good rating for the first team. But I think if we can get 7 or 8, maybe we'll push it up to 8 million, see what they say. And yeah, I'm happy with that. I really am happy with that. I don't think he's going to be a player that particularly does anything. Actually, Hintersea is a player that we've had on our watch. He's not a youngster for us. But I think that would be a good sale. I really do. I think we're a club that, we're not necessarily a selling club, but you've got to appreciate that not every one of your youngsters is going to make it. And for £8 million, I don't see the risk in selling him. He might become the best thing since sliced bread, but I very much doubt it. Marcel's rejected Bournemouth. That's a disappointment because they were the only club who had offered anything that approached what we wanted. There were a few clubs that had offered a transfer deal to Marcel, but it was only about $1.5 million, and I'm not looking at selling him for anything like that. I think something approaching more towards $3 million, given that he's worth $5.5 million. I mean, 1.2 million is just not enough. Not enough at all. So I'm disappointed that he didn't meet Bournemouth's demands. But anyway, we've skipped on to the Brighton match. This is one of those games I definitely think where we should win. And this is a classic one where Wolves should win and don't. It's something that happens very often. I think especially in their early days in the Premier League, where they should have won against the smaller teams. They don't. But this is a match where I think it's a must-win. They're down in 18th place. They're not in the best form at all. To be fair, actually, though, they're not too bad. They've had some good wins over the last few games. Really questions how on earth they're down there, and they must have been in a really dire position before those 3 wins. And to be fair, if they win today, they could find themselves in 14th place and put themselves with a good cushion to that relegation zone. So it's a big match for both teams. If we can win today's match, it'd be a big one for us, particularly given that Chelsea have only got a point today against Manchester United. So if we win our 2 games in hand now on Chelsea, we could move within 3 points of Chelsea, which would be absolutely fantastic. But I don't think the team today is going to particularly change. We've put Neto in instead of Podence. That was a recommendation. But what I'm actually going to do, because Adama Traore is set as high for his injury risk, I'm going to put Neto on the right and put Podence on the left rather than starting Traore. Balotelli's injured for a few weeks, which is a disappointment, so we're going to put Pacheco on the bench to replace him. I don't think there's any other changes we necessarily need to make. We've got Moutinho's got a high injury risk. It might be a chance to get Dendoncker in there because maybe he doesn't get enough action, so we'll do that. I think, though, apart from that, I'm quite happy with that team starting. Yep, everyone's quite pleased with how it's going. We've definitely got this team more mature now. We've got them into the tactic. They're quite happy with this tactic. And to be fair, we're in pretty good form, it has to be said. If you take away that Manchester United match, it's pretty consistent form. We've had, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in probably 8 or 9 games, which for a club like Wolves isn't too bad at all. If you look back at the West Brom match, so we've had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins from 3, 8, 10 matches. So 18 points for a possible 30. I'll take that every day of the week. That's not too bad at all. And given we've played Manchester United in that run, again, that's not too bad. I think we have to be honest here. We have to say I expect nothing but a win from this match. We've got to be realistic. Adam Lallana, nice to see he's playing well. Not really bothered about Matthew Ryan. But this is a match. We've got good form at home. This has got all the prospects of us winning this match. We're going to push forward a little bit here because according to the pre-match report, Brighton have a defensive mentality. So they're going to very much wait for probably their one and only chance to nick a goal. But I think we really prosper when we can play attacking football. So hopefully this is the sort of match where if it goes our way, we can put 3 or 4 past Brighton today, improve our goal difference and walk away here very happy. But of course we can't get complacent. But an early goal here would really help us out. Neves to Neto, through to Jimenez. Semedo shoots! Oh, what a finish from Semedo! It seems our fullbacks have turned into wingers today. What a finish that is from Nelson Semedo. I'm a little bit displeased about him already being on a yellow card. But a great assist again from, it was actually Pedro, no it wasn't, it was Raul Jimenez who found the space. I mean, you know, Brighton's defence, not expecting that, on the volley, puts it past the Brighton keeper, and that is a beautiful finish from Nelson Semedo. 1 each from our fullbacks today, and they'll be challenging Neto and Podence for their position soon. What a finish from him. But will the lead be short-lived? Let's find out. That's a poor header there from Connor Cody, to be honest. Semedo tries to put the tackling. I was worried it could have been a penalty there, but that fizzes out quite quickly. We are going to go back to that positive mentality rather than attacking, because we could be committing our men too far up. But that could well be a penalty. Oh, well, that could have been 2-0. But I'll tell you what, that tackle there looked a little bit dubious to me. That could have been a penalty. But only a few minutes later, a good free kick from Ruben Neves, not Raul Jimenez, sorry. But this has started a counter-attack potentially from Brighton. Alan Lallana, the informed man, puts it in, but a fairly tame shot in the end, and it goes straight to Rui Patricio, who's got a great defensive record. I was only reading in the press conference that he hasn't conceded for something like 300 minutes now, but Daniel Podence puts the shot on, and that's a fairly tame effort as well. That doesn't go anywhere near beating Walton in the Brighton goal. I've never heard of Christian Walton, but given that Matthew Ryan's out, I suppose they've had to go with the second choice. Poor throw in there from Nelson Semedo, but Ruben Neves recovers nicely. Cody to Pedro Neto, good ball into the midfield. Shabani, Jimenez, back now to Ruben Neves. Pedro Neto, can he find anyone? He goes alone and shoots, and that's fantastic goal from Pedro Neto. He couldn't quite find anyone there, so he went for the goal himself. That's exactly what we want to see. I feel like in Football Manager sometimes what happens is the likes of Neto, he'll get on the ball here, not find someone, and ah all day and go, oh, I don't know what to do, and then they'll be dispossessed and a counter-attack comes on. So nice to see he went for the shot there, a good curler into the bottom left corner of the goal. And this is exactly how we wanted this Brighton match to go. We're 2-0 up, 35 minutes, and of course it's not all over yet. If Brighton can get a goal here nice and quickly, they could very much be back in the game. But looking at the personnel for Brighton, they haven't got a bad side. They've got Marcus Rojo in the squad, who has, okay, he isn't Manchester United quality anymore, but could certainly bolster Brighton's defence, but clearly he hasn't so far. But this could be another chance here, you know. Neto to Podence. Podence is going to whip it in potentially, but he got his alone. To Raul Jimenez, who puts it in, and 36 minutes in here with a beautiful finish. We are 3-0 up. This is just what we wanted, isn't it? Brilliant stuff. Pedro Neto going more central, but he runs back. There's a lot of work there to get back. But a poor tackle from Veltman on Podence there. He easily beats him, but puts it into Raul Jimenez, who puts a lovely volley in, and we go 3-0 up. What a fantastic start to this match this is. We've not even had the possession. It just shows that sometimes you don't need possession to do anything. Only 45% of possession, yet we're 3-0 up. I have to say though, looking at our highlights, we are losing the ball a little bit too often and a little bit too easily, it's fair to say. So I'd expect a goal to come. I might be jinxing this completely, but I would expect a goal to come from Brighton at some point, definitely. Bazuma on the ball. He's going to shoot, but way off target. I mean, it says a whisker from goal, but no, he just wasn't good enough there. But this is a brilliant start against Brighton. If we could add a fourth here, this would be absolutely tremendous. Dendoncker to Neves to Willy Bolly. And also, if we can get a good cushion against Brighton here, of course, there are games that come thick and fast in this month, and that could have very easily been 4-0 there by 4 different goal scorers. It just shows that we might not have that creative masterclass in the midfield from either Neves or Moutinho. But with that front four, we've got anybody who can score. We've got even Semedo and Ait-Nouri chipping in. And we are having a very, very good time of it, despite only having 44% of possession here. So we're going to have outstretched arms. We're delighted with the way it's going. I don't think we're particularly risking getting complacent, because I would pretty much... I can't see Brighton, who are in 18th, scoring 3 goals in the second half. I could be wrong. But let's see. Raul Jimenez is looking a little bit tired. This is an opportunity where we can potentially rest him or bring Danny Pacheco in. He can probably play as a forward. I think Shabani might be the better choice though there. Yeah, I think he would be. And we'll put Danny Pacheco in that shadow striker role. A player who's not really done too much since he's joined the club. But we'll see how we get on. It's still early days for him. He's not had the most amount of chances in the world, but he was a short-term buy, wasn't he? He was a short-term buy to fill in that attack, and he's not doing too badly. Mario Balotelli still hasn't scored a goal for us, which is a bit of a concern, but hopefully those guys will find form over time. And I don't know if you know, but Mario Balotelli is worth 14 million, so given we signed him on a free, if he doesn't perform this year and we can sell him for even half of that money, 4-0, awesome. If we can sell him for half of that amount, for 7, even 5 million, well, we've made a good amount of money on him despite him not doing anything for the club. And football clubs are businesses. If you can buy a player and sell him for a profit, and he's not really playing in your team that much, well, that's a win-win. And a cracking ball from Daniel Podence, by the way, there, over the top of the Brighton defence. And 60 minutes in here, we are in absolutely... we're free, aren't we? We're in absolute... Well, Brighton are in free fall, aren't they, really? But we're coasting to victory here. We're 4-0 up. I think we've definitely got the security now to bring a few more of our big guns off. I think Neves might be a man to change. We'll bring Martinho on for him. And Willy Bolly rarely gets a rest. Yeah, so we're going to bring Max Kilman on for him. We bought Jack Watmore on in the previous game. We'll give Max Kilman a run out now. And we'll go back to counter-attacking just to make sure we get a clean sheet. That would be the main thing today. If we can get a clean sheet and win by 4, that would be absolutely tremendous. But what a great episode this could be. 2 goals against Leicester. Leicester didn't really offer much. 4 goals here against Brighton. Okay, we are out of the cup competitions, but we can really focus on the league here. And it seems with clubs like Leicester and Tottenham having a poor time of it, there is definitely a chance for somebody like you can see. It's with Leeds, can't you? You can see that Leeds have really capitalised on that opportunity. But for a club like us, there is definitely a chance to finish in 6th or 7th with us not focusing on any other commitments. But it's been a bad day for Brighton. I was expecting a little bit more from them. Given the form that they were in, you could potentially hear in my tone of voice before the match, I was a little bit fearful that they could do something against us today. But it's not happening. Daniel Podence with an absolutely fantastic strike. I'll tell you what, our players aren't just scoring tap-ins here, are they? I mean, even the goal from the 18-yard box that Jimenez scored was quite special with that really nice volley. Our players know how to score a goal, and this has got to be our biggest victory of the season. Of course, we beat Southampton by 5-1, so we're not completely immune to scoring 5 at home, but we haven't scored 5 at home and had a clean sheet. That is a comprehensive victory that just shows all of our opponents in the league, watch out. An absolutely tremendous performance from Daniel Podence there, so thank goodness that we played both him and Neto. And a good performance all round. I am really pleased with that. Another clean sheet, 5-0. What is not to like? Very happy with the result and the way we played. Things are just starting to gel now, and that is really, really nice. This is the sort of time in the season where you want these things to happen, don't you? I'm going to send the assistant to this one, if I can get the achievement off the screen. So I'm not too bothered about the post-match press conference. Let's have a quick look at the scores from the day. Sheffield United get a big win, so Brighton moved down yet another position. They're going to be disappointed with that. And of course, when it's so close down here, goal difference means a lot, and losing 5 there isn't really going to help them out. But a cracking day for us as Chelsea drop points. West Brom get what you could say is a little bit of a surprising win over Leeds United. Newcastle beat Southampton. Southampton really starting to struggle, so very different to how they're getting on in real life. In fact, I think after 7 games, they've got more points in real life than what they've got in 18 games. But interesting for Liverpool this year. They've not been up with it, but Arsenal have a good start. But that's really been prevented by going any further now, with Sheffield United beating them by 3-1. But a brilliant start for us. 20 games into life for us now, which is nice to see. And we're on a 3-match winning run. We haven't conceded for 3 matches. We have got a tough run coming up. We've got the Leicester game in a few days' time. We'll definitely be looking to get another 3 points from that, given that they didn't offer a lot away from home, but they might be looking for revenge. Then we've got 2 tough matches, but you know what? We can compete with these 2 sides. You can see that we've dominated the sides around us, so if we can live with these guys, maybe get a draw out of either City or Chelsea, or even a win out of one of them, it's not something that is out of the window at all. But so we have got a bit of a tough run. We've got West Ham, then Liverpool and West Brom. And I think that might be the time when we come back. We're going to come back for the Liverpool game and the West Bromwich Albion game, the return of that Black Country derby. 2 games on the TV. And then I think after that, we're probably looking at maybe coming back for Leeds and Everton. That Leeds match could just be one where league position comes into count. And I think after the Leeds and Everton match, we might come back probably for the last 2 games of the season. But we're on a good run now. We are nearly halfway into the season. Say we get 3 points against Leicester. and we're on 31 points after 19. That would leave us looking at maybe sort of 60 points at the end of the year. And that would be a very strong total, wouldn't it? You can also see Raul Jimenez has now moved into the top 3 goal scorers, which, given he didn't score for at least the first 2, 3, even 4 matches, is mightily impressive. A really good start for him, and he's actually got the top average minutes per goal in the Premier League, so he's looking like a striker who could do a lot for us. And given that it's not just a one-man show, you can see that we had, Semedo, Neto, Jimenez, Podence and Aït-Nouri score for us today, and Traoré in the previous game before that. We've had 6 different goal scorers in 3 matches, so that just shows that goals can come from absolutely anywhere on the pitch, and we're on a very good run at the moment, so I'm sure that will come crashing down to earth by the time the next episode comes. But if you enjoyed that, make sure to leave a like down below, comment your thoughts as well, of course, and subscribe for daily FM21 beta content with Wolves. I am thoroughly enjoying this save. I'm really happy I started with Wolves, and I'll be revealing my FM21 official save plans in a few days' time. But for now, we're going to roll with the punches and carry on with the mighty Wanderers. But thank you for watching. I've been TIJ Gaming, and until the next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye for now.
We'll take the goal.